tell us everything.
Okay, so step one, puppies. Puppies as far as I can see. No, I think season 13 is going to be kind of a convention. Season 12 is really about what is Sam and Dean's conception of family now, in terms of the family they have. By which I'm talking about not only Mary, but SDL and Crowley, and all these kind of characters we've known either anecdotally or personally over the course of this time. Season 13, season 12 really blows that up in a pretty dramatic way. Season 13 is about kind of rebuilding from the rubble of that with the added, kind of gift slash burden slash whatever it ends up being of having, the devil's kid living in the bunker. What does that mean? And kind of as we talked about on the panel a little bit, there's a nature versus nurture debate. There's also, I think, do they really care about this kid, or are they using this kid? And I think there's going to be a lot of kind of much more. I mean, the guys last season, apart from an episode here or there, were largely on the same page for a lot of the time. British Rental Letters were such clearly bad guys. Stuff about mom, a little division there, but they both kind of ended up wanting the same thing in a different way. I think the guys this season are much more, they have their own points of view. Again, ultimately supernatural, ultimately everyone comes together and fights together, but I think it's more of a process this year. And we'll build in a little bit more drama between the guys, not just between the guys and external forces.
Do you think there will be further just hunting episodes, or are you going strictly storyline?
No. It's I don't think Supernatural's ever a show that can. 23 episodes doing it all heavily serialized is really difficult. We always, and I love personally, and I love to write them, kind of the really good short story, fun episodes. I think we have last season we handed off a lot of plot. Even our standalone episodes had a fair amount of plot as things went forward. I think this season, even in our standalone episodes, episode 3, episode 4, there's a lot of emotion that's carrying over and a lot of kind of where is Sam and Dean now, because there is not this, last year at this time, we were introducing the British Rental Letters and Mary, and there was a lot of new variables we were bringing in through the first 7, 8 episodes of our season. This season there are fewer variables, they're still important, still big, but it allows us to have some fun and go off and do some fun things, which is always what we want to do. Then obviously kind of the craziest standalone we're doing this year is a Scooby-Doo episode, which will be completely standalone. Yes.
That's incredible. We're actually going to ask further questions about that. Can you
tell us more about that? Charity and Dennis are going to be in it.
Yes.
That's all we know so far.
Yeah, so basically what happened was I have a really good friend of mine, and animation on Supernatural had a weird history. So I remember being back in season 5, and Eric, Kripke, and Menendez were talking about, could we do an animated episode? Could we do even an animated element? You know what I mean? Like a Roger Rabbit type, and the book popped or something along those lines. But doing that from scratch is really difficult. There's not an infrastructure for it, things like that. So it had been raised 3 or 4 times, it had been battered back 3 or 4 times. We did Hunter Herokai, right, which kind of had cartoon logic in the real world basically. And we thought, okay, well that's pretty much all. That's it's scratch. And then about November of last year, I had a friend of mine call me, Jeremy Adams, who ended up co-writing the animated episode. And he was like, "You guys ever thought about doing a Supernatural Scooby-Doo crossover episode?" And I was like, "No, but we really should have thought about doing that many years ago." And so we went to Warner Brothers Television. We're like, it's all in-house Warner Brothers owns Scooby-Doo. We're really interested in doing this. Would you support us doing this? Because animation takes such a huge amount of lead time. We would have to write this. We would have to write that script for episode, which ended up being episode 16 in January of this year. So before we even get a pickup, before we even get anything like that. Warner Brothers, to their, because they love the show and they trust us, they said yes. So we wrote the episode, then we're like, okay, basically as soon as we get our pickup, we'll start animating. We got our pickup early this year. I think we got it January, February, so really early, and we've been a part of that process. So the guys have recorded their parts. We've seen a very rough animatic of it, and just, the Warner Brothers animation people are soulmates, and they're just these incredibly talented people. And I think it's a case of being both a really good episode of Supernatural and a good case and things like that, but also obviously having some fun with kind of this, crashing these worlds together. I think a really fun way.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Wayward Sisters spin-off?
Yeah, so Wayward Sisters is something that, the first time we kind of talked about it internally was, it's way back when, we first introduced Claire. Alex had already been part of Jody's family at that point, and we're like, if it's Sinclair, that's something that's taking these really strong characters and kind of putting them together. And then Brianna came in, and Brianna became a part of that as well. And then, we basically went to the CW Warner Brothers, and we have these really, really strong characters. These characters that are they add so much to the show every time we bring them in, but we feel there's more stories to tell here, and there are different types of stories to tell. Because, you know, Supernatural Roadshow, where it was supposed to be based in Sioux Falls, and, you know, it's this group of, you know, people coming together, becoming a family, and it's, again, it has the DNA of Supernatural, in terms of the genre, it's about family, but it puts we think, a really interesting spin on it, and using these characters people really love. And they were on board, and so they gave us a green light to do it, and we started, and then we're going to get into our kind of 4 core characters. We'll be adding 2 new characters, one starting in episode 3, and the other will appear in episode 9.
And there was a lot of fan support for that. There was
Yes,
the Wayward
ton.
daughter fan support. Was that a factor in bringing this show?
I think, look, when you can go to Warner Brothers and you can say, like, look, this show doesn't exist yet, and it's getting this much activity, it only makes it look better. And I think, you know, we want to respond to our fan base in that way, and I feel this show has, I don't know how it is on other shows. I feel our show has a very strong amount of give and take between the fans of the show, and always has. Going back to some of the stuff Eric did with, you know, the fan convention episode and things like that. I mean, not that I'm saying everything's always peaceful on the 2 sides, but I think there's a lot of communication. And so we certainly heard that. And it's something we were excited, because it's something we had talked about internally, just to see people pick it up on their own. It was really, really gratifying to us. And so for us it was, okay, we love this idea, we know there's a fan base for it, you know, is it the story? And then it became about, okay, what's the right time to do it? And it felt like there was so much going on last season, it didn't quite feel right. This season it feels like we have space for it. It'll air episode 10 in January, and we really hope people like it, and we really think it has a chance to be a really excellent show, thanks largely to both the fan engagement that you're talking about, but also just to the cast. You know, Kim and Brianna and Catherine. I mean, they're amazing. You know, we brought Kim in to read with Clark, the new girl we just cast today, and you know, just to see Kim do that and have that role, like, she's a great actress. And I think this will give every one of them a chance to shine in a way that being guests on Supernatural, you're limited in some ways. It's still about Jared and Jensen no matter what. So I think this really opens up a lot of really cool doors for them. We're just very hopeful people like it and respond to it, and we get to do more.
Yeah.
All right.